What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here in this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, even with the recent cooling off of the market, DEC is still holding peg, SPS is still above 3 cents. We're feeling pretty good. So I wanted to take a closer look at land and kind of do we'll just say like a 2-week review. It's been out for a couple of weeks now, and the main metric in which I wanted to evaluate land was the overall usage. Now, I'm sure we might, someone might be able to go in and check the blockchain to see, how many power cores were bought, how much DEC was burned for that, how much DEC might have been burned for time crystals, if any, or for grain. Obviously, time crystals and grain are going very cheap on the secondary markets is what I hear. So the main thing is, what is the utilization rate of land from a DEC standpoint? And you can see here that we are at 1.28 billion DEC that is currently staked on land. Now, 1.5 billion is the magic number in my opinion. That is about 20%. And considering that my goal over the course of, my goal over the course of the first month, right? So with this launching at the end of November, we'll just say by the end of the year, was for us to be at about a 30% utilization. It's not looking like we're going to be up there very quickly, right? So 30% utilization would be about 2.2 billion DEC. We're barely over halfway there, right? 1.28 billion. If 1.5 is 20%, then we are kind of around like 16, 17-ish percent, probably around like 17% or so land utilization. So we still have a ways to go before we were to get to 30. Again, can a lot happen between now and the end of the year? Absolutely. We still have a couple of more of the pieces of the white paper for phase 2.0 that will be dropping. But on the whole, I think we'll probably just see a slow and steady rate increase over time rather than immediately jumping to 30% as the baseline and then slow and steady increase from there. So with so much going on, that's kind of like the where we're at. It didn't hit as much as I was hoping, and I wonder how much of that might have been people using DEC to get into Rebellion. Had land come out, for example, in August when there was nothing else really on the docket, I wonder if people would have gone heavier into land and therefore utilized their resources much more quickly just because there was nothing else to really spend your money on at that time. But again, that's a parallel world, so our parallel reality. It's hard to tell what would have happened had this come out in August or September, but we live in this one, and as it stands, we are very close to 20%, but that's not quite the goal that I was hoping for. Granted, we still have a couple of weeks before the end of the year, but at this point, it seems as though there isn't anything that's going to really push the community to get their land up and running very quickly. But we'll come back again at the end of the month and see where things are at. Now, from a development standpoint, there's a new little feature here. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but you can see there are leaderboards for grain and for research, and you can see based on the territory, based on the region, and then of course overall how much each person each person has. So if I go to like research, for example, I think what's interesting is you can see, I guess this is across, I thought that would be by region, or I thought that would be everyone. So let's go to territory. So by Pristine Northwest research, you can see Druid's Blood is at the top. Let's see, Broken Lands. You can see Michael B has 343. So, shout out to Flowey who put together a great post and was helping us to track this. But the team implemented something in game, which is exactly what we want them to do. So shout out to the team for, giving us what we wanted. Now, from a production standpoint, you can see here, my land is doing decent. I'm claiming my keep about once a week. You can see a little bit more than a week. I'm only at 10% capacity, so I guess I can go and claim that. But I got to say, I'm happy. Land works. Nothing seems like it was broken. I'm glad they were able to get it out. And I personally am very excited for a lot of the aspects of 1.6. I think the grain market will make things very interesting, although, grain is already very cheap. And it's more so, again, not the grain market, but the prefix titles that I wonder if that could be the thing that spurs more people. But if the grain market's coming first, and I don't think that's coming until next year, right? I don't think that the team is going to release anything else this week or next week. So if the gray market isn't coming until next year, I highly doubt that we're going to get, 2 major land updates in January, although that would be super nice. But I highly doubt we're going to get 2 major updates, which means that the thing that, in my opinion, would really spur more land utilization, as a lot of the top whales and research getters or research claimers are fighting with one another, that's not going to happen until February at the earliest. Again, this is all speculation, but I just know that the grain LP is the priority and that the team is working on that. So if that comes out in January, I would expect at least a couple of weeks in between. So maybe late January, but my guess would probably be February. So overall, land has been good. Right? It's been good. Has it been great in terms of like meeting the probably very high expectations I had for it? No, not necessarily. I think it works fantastically. It's very easy to use, but it's exactly what we expected, right? A lot of people, a lot of the criticism that I hear around land is, oh, it's super boring and, you just go and click. And it's just like, well, what did you expect? I mean, the white paper came out in March of this year, and we all knew that's exactly what was going to happen, right? There's just 3 resources. There wasn't going to be much to it. It was just going to be something that everybody who had land and was waiting to use their land just wanted to get started on, right? It would clear up a lot of the old cards. It would eat up a lot of DEC, which it has, 1.2 billion. And it would just be this thing that's part of the economy that is slowly going to be expanded upon. But, like I said, I had higher expectations for it from an economy standpoint. I think some of that, or probably a lot of that, was blunted by Rebellion, which I'm not going to complain too much about because Rebellion has been super fun. But on the whole, land after 2 weeks seems like it's chugging right along, and I'm very excited to see what the next couple of updates will bring. And hopefully we'll hear more about that on the next town hall or early in January. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How are we tracking? Is this on pace for what you guys thought, about 17 to 18% of land utilization? And again, that's just from a pure DEC staking standpoint. Or is this something that you like was way beyond your wildest imaginations? I know there's people who thought like 30, 40%. I was in the 30-ish% range, but I also know that there were folks in the 5 to 10% range, and I think we've blown well past that. So would be curious to know what your expectations were versus where reality is now that we are a couple of weeks in. But like I said, I'm still hopeful, maybe 30% by the end of the month. That was kind of like the 1 month time frame I wanted to give for land. But I look forward to hearing your guys' thoughts on this. I'll catch you all in the next video and see you around the game. Take care.